It's my second one today. Is that a bad thing? Do I have a problem? Should I be diagnosed? So today I want to talk about something that strikes the heart of many writers out there, but not in a good way. There is something out there in the world of writing that most writers will look at and cringe and hiss and back away slowly and scream. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Mary Sue's and or Marty Stu's. Yes, both of them. So what is a Mary Stu or Marty Stu? Well, these are characters in fiction, TV, any writing where they're idealized beyond belief. They're absolutely beautiful, good at everything. They're just perfect. These are usually seen a lot in fanfiction where people put themselves into it, or the term self-insert, and they make themselves seem perfect, and usually their favorite character falls in love with them, and they have every power in the world, everything convenient to them, and they're beautiful but clumsy, but it's the good kind of clumsy, where they're I have problems with these Mary Sues and Marty Stus, obviously. You can tell. There are many examples of Mary Sues and Marty Stus, but the biggest one for me is Bella Swan. No, I'm not trying to hate on the Twilight series, but this one sings loudly to me. Excuse me a second. That's just so good. So Bella is completely a Mary Sue because she thinks she's very not attractive and just average, and she's clumsy, and she doesn't feel like anyone likes her, but she comes to a new high school and everybody loves her. 5 different guys have a crush on her, and Edward is immediately in love with her and wants to eat her. Reasonable, right? And she just has all these traits where it's all contradictory to each other. She's like, she doesn't feel like she's perfect, but somehow she actually is. And I have a big problem with that scene in the freaking Italy or wherever they are. And she has to run to freaking stop Edward from killing himself. And somehow she's the clumsiest, but she's able to run through all these freaking people and not trip once. What? I mean, I'm not the clumsiest person. I'm not really that clumsy at all. But I feel like I would have at least tripped 10 times on the way to Edward because of all those people. And I have a problem. So to keep your people that you show your work to and whoever, to make people less upset with your characters, I give you some tips to make them avoid being a Mary Sue or Marty Stu. Tip number 1, give them some flaws. I mean, they can be little, they can be big. If they're little, give them some more. If they're big, whatever, but they need to have some sort of flaws. That being said, they don't have to be filled with flaws, but they need to have enough to where they feel human. And I don't want to discourage you from putting in some traits of a Mary Sue or Marty Stu, like, you know, being like a jack of all trades or being ridiculously beautiful. I mean, you can have those, but they don't have to be necessarily idealized and perfect. And I'm just gonna stop myself from ranting more. Tip number 2. This tends to be one of my favorite tips to give out because I like it a lot, which is to base your characters off of people that you already know. I mean, there are even people you know in real life, you know, that might seem perfect, but they actually have flaws, and you might notice them, and you can use some of them. And my last tip, which is number 3, because I can count, just remind yourself that people aren't perfect, and your story is going to seem much more realistic if your characters have their flaws. If you have a character who's completely idealized and perfect, you're going to make for a lack of conflict and a lack of depth in the character because they can overcome it. You know they're going to overcome it because they're perfect and they can do anything and they're beautiful, and you know they're just going to make it because what's the point of rooting for them if you already know they're going to win? If they're perfect and idealized, it kind of takes the humanity out of them. It makes them seem like they're above a human and that they're better than everyone around them, and I just don't feel like that makes for good character development. in my personal opinion. So that's all I have about Mary Sue's and Marty Stu's. If there's anything you can think of that you don't like about them, or if you can think of anything that you've read that had them, down there in the comments. And if you like this video, click the thumb up, not the thumb down. I don't like thumbs down. That sounded really weird. So thanks for watching, and see you later.